The Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton Christensen is a groundbreaking exploration of why successful companies often fail when faced with disruptive innovations. Christensen introduces the concept of disruptive technology and explains how smaller companies with fewer resources can disrupt market leaders by targeting overlooked markets. Over time, these disruptive innovations improve, eventually displacing established competitors. Introduction: The Dilemma of Innovation. In The Innovator's Dilemma, Christensen challenges the conventional wisdom that successful companies should continuously improve their existing products and services to stay competitive. He argues that by focusing too much on sustaining innovations, incremental improvements to existing products, large companies often overlook disruptive innovations that initially target niche markets but eventually transform industries. The central dilemma is that while established companies tend to ignore these smaller, low-end disruptions, they eventually find themselves displaced when these innovations mature. Christensen uses various examples, particularly from industries like disk drives, personal computers, and steel mills, to demonstrate how even well-managed companies can fail when disruptive innovations change the market landscape. Disruptive versus sustaining innovations. Christensen defines two types of innovations. Sustaining innovations. These are improvements made to existing products that cater to an existing market. They are typically incremental, aimed at maintaining or enhancing the performance of current products. Most large companies focus on sustaining innovations because they align with the needs of their most profitable customers. Disruptive innovations. These innovations introduce a new value proposition by either creating entirely new markets or addressing low-end markets that incumbents ignore. Initially, these products may seem inferior compared to established offerings, but they improve over time and eventually capture mainstream customers. Christensen explains that disruptive innovations are often dismissed by market leaders because they don't initially meet the needs of their existing customers. However, as these innovations improve, they gradually move upmarket, eventually surpassing the performance of traditional products and displacing industry leaders. The Innovator's Dilemma. The Innovator's Dilemma arises when market leaders face a difficult decision. Should they invest in sustaining innovations that satisfy their current, profitable customers, or should they allocate resources to disruptive innovations that may seem less profitable or irrelevant at first? Most established companies choose the former, as their business models and internal processes are geared towards serving their existing customer base. As a result, they often miss out on disruptive innovations that have the potential to transform entire industries. Christensen highlights several reasons for this dilemma. Customer focus. Companies focus on meeting the demands of their most profitable customers. Disruptive innovations initially appeal to new or less profitable customers, so market leaders often ignore them. Profit margins. Disruptive innovations are typically cheaper and less profitable at first, which makes them unattractive to established companies. Organizational inertia. Large organizations are designed to improve and optimize existing products. They struggle to accommodate disruptive innovations that don't fit within their current structures. Examples of disruptive innovation. Christensen provides several real-world examples to illustrate how disruptive innovation has played out in different industries. Disk drive industry. One of Christensen's key case studies is the disk drive industry. Over several decades, smaller disk drives repeatedly disrupted the market. Established companies focused on improving larger drives that serve their existing customers, but smaller drives, though initially inferior, eventually captured the mainstream market. Steel industry. Mini mills, which produced low-quality steel, initially catered to smaller, less profitable markets. Large steel companies ignored them, focusing on their more lucrative customers. Over time, however, mini mills improved and began to compete directly with traditional steel manufacturers, ultimately displacing many of them. Personal computers. In the early days of computing, established companies like IBM focused on mainframes and mini-computers. Personal computers, initially considered low-end and not suitable for professional tasks, eventually improved and became the dominant form of computing, disrupting the entire industry. These examples illustrate how disruptive innovations start small, improve over time, and eventually challenge market leaders. Why good companies fail. One of the key insights of the Innovator's Dilemma is that even well-managed companies with good leaders can fail in the face of disruptive innovation. Christensen emphasizes that this failure is not due to poor management, but rather the result of structural and systemic challenges. Key reasons why good companies fail include listening too much to customers. Companies often focus too much on satisfying their most profitable customers and fail to recognize the potential of emerging markets. Disruptive innovations typically target customers who are overlooked by incumbents. Pursuing higher margins. Disruptive innovations often start with lower profit margins. Established companies, driven by the need to maintain high margins, may choose not to invest in these innovations, missing out on long-term opportunities. Organizational inflexibility. Large companies tend to develop rigid processes and business models that work well for sustaining innovations, but are ill-suited for the flexibility required to explore new disruptive markets. Christensen emphasizes that the very practices that make companies successful in stable markets, listening to customers, focusing on profitability, and optimizing current processes, are the same factors that can lead to failure when disruption occurs. Managing disruptive innovation. While the innovator's dilemma presents significant challenges, Christensen offers strategies for companies to manage disruptive innovation effectively. He suggests that companies need to separate disruptive initiatives from their core business operations to allow them the freedom to grow and develop without being constrained by existing processes and goals. Key strategies include creating separate units. Large companies should consider creating autonomous units or spin-offs dedicated to exploring disruptive technologies. These units can operate independently from the core business, allowing them to focus on innovation without being tied to the demands of current customers or profitability goals. Targeting new markets. Companies need to be open to exploring new markets that may not seem profitable initially. By developing products for underserved or emerging markets, companies can position themselves to capitalize on disruptive innovations as they evolve. Embracing experimentation. Disruptive innovation requires a willingness to experiment and take risks. Companies should encourage a culture of innovation and be willing to invest in projects that may not yield immediate returns. The Innovator's Solution. In the conclusion of the book, Christensen offers advice for companies looking to avoid the pitfalls of the innovator's dilemma. He emphasizes that managers must be proactive in identifying potential disruptive technologies and markets. Instead of relying solely on existing customers and products, companies should focus on long-term trends and shifts in the market. Christensen also advocates for a mindset shift within organizations. Leaders should recognize that disruptive innovations often require different metrics for success. Instead of focusing solely on short-term profitability, companies need to be patient and allow new innovations to grow. Conclusion: a call to innovate. The Innovator's Dilemma is a thought-provoking book that challenges conventional business thinking. Clayton Christensen provides a compelling framework for understanding why even the most successful companies can fail when faced with disruptive innovation. His insights into the dynamics of innovation and the challenges of managing change offer valuable lessons for businesses in any industry. The book underscores the importance of embracing disruptive innovation, not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and transformation. By adopting a flexible, forward-thinking approach, companies can avoid being disrupted and instead become the disruptors themselves.